in the master plan?
The university already meets the requirement of the master plan, exceeds. There's an eligibility study that was ordered in the State Budget Act of 2015. We believe and think that it will indicate that we exceed our commitment under the master plan for enrollment.
Where do we get the 30,000 at then? I'm just wondering.
I think that's debatable, first and foremost. And we know that we need more graduates in California. You know, PIPIC reported earlier this year that we need 1 million more college graduates by 2025. And so we need to redouble our efforts to expand enrollment at UC, CSU, and community college two-year degrees.
So across the entire education.
Yeah, and so the 30,000 students is, and minus the 10,000 fewer non-residents, that enrollment growth every year would be about 2-3%. So it's about what the campuses are growing anyway by. In other words, you know, you couldn't just grow overnight and not have an impact of student housing at, you know, some of the campuses around California and having a big crisis. But when you have the fewer non-residents and the increased California students, it would fit within what is can be accommodated within the system.
Yeah, I noticed also, I think I read something the other day about our population demographics are changing as far as growing young people. You see it now in the elementary schools. So
yeah, and also you note that more and more high school students, you know, probably kids that were in Mr. O'Donnell's class, you know, they're taking their A through G courses more than they used to. They're becoming more and more eligible for higher education than they were in years past.
Okay, the other thing I was looking at and which I was interested in was your 50-50 share approach for covering costs, which I think is interesting. The UC efficiencies, we had a hearing on efficiencies, I remember. Is that what this is coming from, the 20 million?
This essentially is coming from issues that were brought to light in the audit. I mean, frankly, one issue in the audit that we didn't talk about is it was claimed that if UC adjusted their travel procedures and used basically the cheaper way to book tickets, they could save $10 million a year. Not to mention making these adjustments in some of the research programs. So I think $20 million is a very approachable amount, and frankly there could be much more, and that's why in the out years we do increase it, but we do cap it at $50 million in the 6th year. So we're asking UC in year 6 to come up with a total of $50 million in efficiencies from the Office of the President, from admin costs, from other entities, and we will work with the university to come up with maybe a fine tuning of the appropriate pots where this could come from.
And just a comment on your general fund, I see it's $20 million, but it builds out in 2022 to $206 million in general fund. Just the discussion we had earlier, the auditor highlighted $337 million that could easily be shifted to cover this. So I think you have, I'll restate it again, I think you have some good goals here. The only thing I'd like to do, though, is on this would be possible, Chair, is that if we could bifurcate it so that allow us to vote for the 30,000 increase of students, reduce non-residents at 10%. But as far as the increase the oversight, where I agree that we need more oversight, obviously, from the last hearing, it seems to me the state auditor is there to do that. And so why do we want to have another bureaucracy when we could just call them up and tell them to do it?
Okay, we will
if
take
I could
your
bifurcate out that.
Sure, we'll take that under advisement and do a two-pronged vote.
Thank you. So I'll make a motion to approve the first two issues of the 30,000 increase California students and reduce non-residential students at 10% of total undergraduate enrollment, and with these key points you've
and the financing piece.
And the financing piece.
Okay, we have a motion.
Second that.
Okay, we have a motion and a second on the enrollment piece with the California enrollment, non-resident cap/ratio, and the financing package to address it. Comments? Yes.
Make a quick comment, because I don't want this to, I don't want to talk about necessarily the specifics of the plan right now, but I do think that all of us do ultimately, in spite of sometimes it looking a little bit hostile, we all have the same goals. We want to make sure that we maintain the UC system as the top system really in the world. and that we do want to make sure that we continue to educate California students. I don't even know how many hearings there were last year where UC comes in and the legislators are yelling that you've got this big explosion in out-of-state students. But kind of to channel Doss Williams, this is really a problem that we created. We did not adequately fund UC. So I think looking at this plan, everybody making a bigger commitment to try to make that increase those numbers to an area that's acceptable to all of us, I think is certainly a good overall goal.
Okay. All right. We have a motion and a second on this item.
Mr. McCarty.
Aye.
Mr. Chavez.
Aye.
Ms. Irwin.
Aye.
Ms. Kim. Aye. Mr. O'Donnell. Aye. 5-0.
Okay. And the second item, the UC oversight. Do we have a motion on this piece?
It's the OIG.
Yes.
I'll move it.
Okay. Motion and a second. Motion by O'Donnell, second by Irwin. Please call the roll.
Mr. McCarty.
Aye.
Mr. Chavez.
No.
Ms. Irwin.
Aye.
Ms. Kim. No. Mr. O'Donnell. 3-2.
And we know that the university will have an opinion on this, but I want to allow Mr. Flaherty a few comments to have an initial response. I know you're looking over
We
there.
oppose. That's my first comment.
Okay.
However, I'd be interested in continuing a conversation along these lines. I would also say that it just dawned on me, I think maybe the 30,000 being turned away may have been a reference to the other segment, and I don't say that as a slam on CSU. After the 2008 recession, the cuts were very steep. The legislature really had difficult and no good choices. And one of the things that the university did was turn to non-resident enrollment as a source of revenue to cover costs and make up for cuts. That is true. CSU really didn't have that opportunity. And so what they had to do was turn away many qualified California students. And I think Chancellor White actually estimated that it was about 30,000 students. But it was an effort on their part to try and ensure that the students that did get admitted could graduate in a timely fashion and that they could receive the correct. So I don't mean that as a criticism by any, but that could be where the 30,000 is sticking in your mind, Assemblyman.
Well, I think on that, we know that you have press releases that you had a banner year, more applicants than ever applying to the university, north of 100,000, and you enroll roughly 32,000. So we think
Higher admissions rate than
so we
prior
think another
years as well.
5,000 a year could be achieved. So.
It's a very steep increase, the equivalent of adding a whole new campus, more than some of the enrollment at some of our campuses. And obviously, it begs a lot of questions related to the facilities and the services
Well, let me
available
just stop
to
right
support
there,
those
just so
students.
we have our math correct. So it's 5,000 new Californians minus 1,700. So that's 3,200, right? So this year, you're increasing by 5,000. You want to increase by 2,500 for the next 2 years. So it's really only 700 more the next 2 years that you're planning on increasing anyway, as far as new bodies on campus.
That's very good.
Right?
So based on a reduction in non-resident enrollment.
Correct. So an additional 3,200 individuals per year. Okay. And then I guess the one issue the one thing that we don't have any finite information here, the variable that frankly is something that we speculate is that non-residents would be willing to pay this premium. We saw that when you increased non-resident enrollment this past year by 8%, you had a banner year in non-residents applying. So they're willing to pay that surcharge. And so I think that the state of California could come up with the $20 million a year up to $200 by year 6. I think the university can easily find those efficiencies. The 50% piece that funds this is the increased non-resident tuition. So that's the issue we'll have to address going forward.
And I would just add with the non-resident supplemental tuition increase, just a little back of the envelope on what I'm seeing now for the first time. I think, if my calculations are correct, that would put our non-resident supplemental tuition about the equal to the tuition at Harvard or some of the most exclusive Ivy Leagues. So
Yeah.
we're committed to the 8% increase, obviously this year, 8% next year.
That would be in 6 years, they would be to what Harvard and Michigan are today. So assuming that Harvard or Michigan did not go up, but I would assume that those universities are going up. So with that, we took a motion and second. We had a vote here. So we will have opportunity to discuss this. This is not, as Mr. Irwin said, this is not the end of the budget process. This is our version. There's going to be the final budget committees to vote on this, then the assembly, then we'll go to conference committee, and so there'll be an opportunity to have more debate on this proposal. But we think it's a good proposal going forward. So with that, we will now open it up to public comment for other issues, other UC issues going forward. Jackie or Pat, I have to go present with you.
All right, we have a long line here, and so please do keep your comments somewhat brief. We'll give you a minute, but if you take less, we'll be really happy. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Erin Carrera. I'm a registered nurse at UCSF Medical Center. I work in the recovery room there. I was there last night until midnight and got up this morning to come talk to you all. I speak not only on my own behalf, but for the 3,000 nurses that work at UCSF and the 15,000 that are across the state. We collectively support responsible action to stabilize and secure our pension for current and future UC employees. That's why during the last contract negotiations, we agreed to increased contributions for all registered nurses to maintain one tier. We believe that all UC registered nurses and all UC workers deserve to have the right to retire with dignity after a career of service for the state of California. That's why I'm here to speak against the 2016 tier imposed by President Napolitano and approved by the regents. The 401 opt-out is going to increase administrative costs and destabilize our pension while rewarding UC executives. So we urge you to please not approve this, the funding of this.
Thank you.
Hi, good morning. I am Jane Pressman. I'm a registered nurse down at UCLA. I work in the psychiatric unit, and I work with mentally ill patients. I've been at UC for about 10 years now, and so I'm here on behalf of the 15,000 registered nurses who have come to UC counting on pension and really strongly oppose Janet Napolitano's idea that a 401k could ever replace a pension. And I'm not a finance person, but it seems to me that people coming in and not putting money into the pension cannot down the road increase the pension, as well as the idea that we want to encourage people to leave, to come in and take a 401k to leave. That's not very cost effective in terms of employee turnover either. It's very expensive, $30,000 to $50,000 a year for RN. Please, please, please do not allow the 401k. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Paul Brooks. I'm a retired spectroscopist, 40 years at UC Berkeley. I was also a member of the UCRS Retirement Board. One thing that wasn't mentioned in these reports is that no state funding went into UCRS from 1990 to 2010, so 20 years. CSU and the community colleges get guaranteed funding every year as part of the state budget for their pensions. We do not, and therefore, when I note here that on the subcommittee finance it says $89 million as discretionary funds in a $337 million, That's not easily discretionable. In many respects, the state owes that. The University for Professional Technical Employees Union wants a well-defined, stable, defined benefit plan, and we oppose the defined contribution plan.
Thank you.
Madam Chair and members, Sean Conley with the University of California Student Association. We just want to echo our support for the university's budgetary requests, with the caveat of the LAO's recommendations that the legislature still move towards line item funding, which we believe will allow for greater transparency for the UC budget. And also want to echo our very strong support for the additional $6 million for 600 graduate students who are increasingly relied upon for education of the undergraduates. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Brett Cook. I'm a PhD candidate in neuroscience at UC Santa Barbara. My research is focused on reducing the toxic side effects of cancer therapy. And I'm here to support the university's request for $6 million for 600 additional grad students. This is to support faculty research as well as to serve as teaching assistants for a growing population of undergraduate students. In my program, only about half of grad students actually continue to graduation. We have great ideas that are abandoned, labs that are filled to capacity, and students that don't end up with mentors that they chose. Most are forced out by the F word, which is funding. In addition to my scientific training, the entrepreneurial resources available to me at UCSB have been an important part of my graduate education. I support expansion of these resources as envisioned in AB 2664. Grad students at UC generate a new startup every 2 weeks, which currently support more than 3,400 jobs in California, as well as bringing in $520 million in revenue annually. I encourage the Budget Subcommittee to support funding for both graduate students and innovation infrastructure, as envisioned in AB 2664. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Good morning. My name is Michael Avant. I'm a patient care worker at UC San Diego. I've been a patient care worker for 14 years. I'm also a member of ASME Local 3299. First, Napolitano's retirement package treats frontline workers like myself as second class. Second, the DC opt-out will make the university executive compensation problems even worse. High-pay executives and administrators who do not plan to make a career at UC will get a richer benefit if they opt out of the 401k. There are clear winners and losers in this plan. The losers include UC frontline workers, our patients, and California taxpayers. Enough is enough. Say no to the rainy funds to further enrich UC executives and administrators. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm Reg Kelly. I'm a professor at UCSF. I'm here to talk in favor of innovation and entrepreneurship. For the last 10 years, I've been showing that if you put a $1 million into the economy, you can get 120 jobs back per year. We brought 300 million into the Bay Area economy. We're incorporating 70 companies a year. What I think is amazing, the way that the university can actually give back to the taxpayers of California, and I therefore propose that we support AB 2664, which will help see that as an investment in the state, not asking for more money.
Thank you very much.
Good morning. My name is Claudia Preparata. I'm with ASME 3299. UC says that the DC opt-out is a toolbox for the young, but it's really just a package. It's just a way to package it to hide their real intention. We know that UC executives and administrators, 30%, a third of them leave before 5 years, and over 50% before 10 years. Given its richer benefit structure, it's nothing but a cash giveaway for UC executives. I would also like to highlight that providing the DC benefit would be more costly to UC than the DB benefit, all the while making UC's pension plan less stable. UC says it will save $9 million, obviously is not any real savings, and the impact of the DC plan is unknown. While UC focuses on its unfunded liability, providing a DC opt-out could actually increase costs to UCRP in the long run. Thank you.
Thank you.
Michael Young on behalf of the California Labor Federation. We're also opposed to the proposed changes to UC's pension plan. We believe that with the DC opt-out, we believe that the plan incentivizes highly compensated employees to opt out the defined benefit plan in favor of the DC plan, and further it creates instability and more risk for those in the pension plan as of now. We believe the split tier model in the proposed plan will also mean that lower wage employees would receive less equitable retirement retirement benefits than highly compensated employees. And we also believe that the plan runs counter to the legislative intent of the budget deal from last year. For those reasons, we're opposed.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Cyrus Rustamji. After getting my master's degree in engineering from UC San Diego, I actually came up to Silicon Valley, worked for a high-tech battery firm for a few years. Had some ideas up there, wanted to pursue it to improve our battery technology, but we didn't have the funding. So I came back. I went back to graduate student funding as a PhD student at UCS San Diego. Technology works out really well. I'm actually at the point where I'm really innovating it, issuing IP, patents and whatnot. I've started my own startup. So here today, I'm asking you for funding for the innovation infrastructure funding to really put funding where ideas up in Silicon Valley that an actual company might not be able to pursue, but maybe at the research level we could do that. And I now have a startup and hopefully innovating for the state of California. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Hello, my name is Elizabeth Gunther. I'm a fifth-year PhD student at UCLA in the biochemistry department. I'm here to support two different requests by the university. The first is for the $6 million to bring in 600 new graduate students. I can tell you from personal experience that TAing has been one of the most rewarding experiences. Watching the light bulb go off in an undergraduate's eyes as they begin to understand a concept they didn't previously understand is truly rewarding. And I think if we're going to bring in more undergraduate students, we'll only be serving as a disservice to them if we don't also bring in more graduate students to help educate them. Additionally, I'm here to support AB 2664 for innovation and entrepreneurship support. Graduate education has shifted immensely. Graduate students aren't just looking to publish anymore. They're looking to take ownership and see the research they do in their basic science lab translate into real-world products. And so I think AB 2664 will allow the university to develop better infrastructure in order to encourage that innovation at the graduate student level, which, in my opinion, is really where some of the most creative ideas are coming out. So thank you.
Thank you.
Madam Chair, members of the committee, my name is Brian Allison on behalf of the American Federation of State, County, and Municipal Employees. I think today, regarding the pension proposal, you've heard from a number of not only stakeholders in the university community, but also workers who depend on a defined benefit program to ensure that they have dignity in their later years. What we're talking about here is for as far as AFSCME is concerned, the number one priority that we have in the budget, which is making sure that we can ensure the solvency of this plan moving forward. We can protect the defined benefit structure for workers who come to the UC system, and we can protect the legislature's intent to ensure that you all are using taxpayer money, and when you're giving it to the University of California, that they are using it as efficiently and with the intent that you all gave that money to them with. So we are asking, we stand in firm opposition to what the UC is proposing with respect to defined benefit pensions. We would ask for you to exercise your authority as the legislature to ensure that we can do this in a way that ensures the long-term solvency and financial stability of the pension plan at the UC and the protection of the workers in that plan as well. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair and members. Joshua Golka here on behalf of Michael Bolden with the Service Employees International Union, California State Council, who couldn't stay for the public testimony portion, but they would also like to express their opposition to the DC opt-out as previously discussed before the committee. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Sumner Norman. I'm from UC Irvine. I'm in mechanical engineering. I'm a graduate student. And I'm here to support two things. First of all, the infrastructure bill, AB 2664. I think this is absolutely necessary. These types of infrastructure is exactly what the UC system needs. At UC Irvine, we've been blessed in that we have something called the Cove. It's an incubator, and I've seen different businesses grow out of our lab. Not one, but two startups have been successfully funded and have gone on. These are rehabilitation facilities. They work in clinical settings that you can buy these things on Amazon now. We've seen success. And I think the other schools need these types of opportunities as well, because these types of great research that are going on at all the UC schools shouldn't be dust, collecting dust on a shelf. They should actually be out in the world where people can use them, and the benefits that we're creating inside these schools can actually be seen by the public. I'd also like to support the graduate student bill for the additional $6 million for graduate students, because we are the lifeblood of the university. Without the link between undergraduate students and being able to teach them, and also pushing the research forward that these really smart professors are able to come up with, everything comes to a halt. And I've been teaching for the last 4 years, and we are low. There's not enough of us to handle how many graduate or undergraduate students are, and every year we see more and more, and not enough graduate students to cover them. So
Right.
thank you very much.
Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Job Shea. I'm a Master's of Engineering student at Berkeley, and I'm here to support the AB 2664 in addition to the funding for additional graduate students. After my master's, I'm looking to pursue a graduate degree, and I'm also, I have a startup, and we're finding that there's not enough resources. Even though there's plenty here compared to other places, we're finding that there's a large need for more resources, and we're just finding that it's hard to find the funding and the innovation, even in such a awesome place as here. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning, Marianne Massenberg with the UAW.
McCarty has to get
20,000 academic student workers, grad students. The reasons stated by previous speakers. I also want to say that many of our members working as TAs, working as RAs, readers, and tutors are non-residents from out of state and other countries. And the impression that was given in the subcommittee this morning that the non-residents are wealthy enough to pay huge increases in tuition is incorrect. And I think that the type of increase that's proposed by the subcommittee today will result in the only non-residents that you can attract being quite wealthy, which is not currently the case. People are struggling or taking out loans and are having a difficult time already with the tuition. We appreciate the effort to replace any funding that might be lost from reductions in non-resident enrollment, but we don't think that the UC budget, once again, should be balanced on the backs of workers or on students. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Well, I would say we're adjourned, but we have to wait for Assemblymember McCarty to come back. So you are free to leave. We have no more business, but we'll be up here for a little while.